Hi everyone, this is Francisco. Recording this because I just got a thought about acts of love, acts of kindness, and I wanted to like preach a little bit, like a preacher, and basically I look at it more like a classroom group session, not like preaching to a lot of people, but you know, I can't underestimate the power of God, you know, the authority of God and all that. So ultimately it's like all glory to him. And that's what I'm really trying to get at is because right now I'm hearing some thoughts like we have to be thankful and grateful for every blessing that we have. Like some people out there, you guys have medical insurance. You guys, have your like the government or whatever paying for your medication. Like you can just go to the store and pick it up for free. You don't have to purchase it. That's a blessing. Like some people have to pay for that. Some people have to harvest it. They have to make it, produce it, sell it. The whole nine yards. Um, some of you have like help from the government, like childcare. You guys get free childcare providing services, housing, like you name it, the whole nine yards, right? So I believe that we have to start talking more about that type of stuff than negative stuff. So people can be appreciative and thankful about what the government is doing for everyone, because everyone wants to talk about the government, like who's the government and why do people keep saying government, government, government. It's so annoying, right? But it's just we are the ones that have the right to vote. You know what I mean? So vote for whatever you think it's right. So see, we are the people that are orchestrating or like making all this happen, but we just want to like classify it as the government, but in reality it's all of us working together. Like a lot of you out there, I know I was for a little while receiving food stamps, and I would get $200 a month of food stamps, and I was very grateful for that. You know, so there's a lot of help. We just have to know who to ask, and we could always ask Google for assistance, because after all, that's what Google is Google Assistant, you know? And there's a bunch of other, free search engines, and we can always ask through that. But the main thing is being grateful and appreciative of those blessings, those of those of those of those things that that God provides us with, and we have to preach about that. We have to talk about that instead of talking about negative stuff. You know, we have to, because it's just like electricity. Edison and all them. That electricity is connected to a house. They don't have to connect it. They could, if they want to, they can charge more for it, but they decide not to. You know, everything is a blessing, and a lot of us we're so like bored, or we're stressed out, but there's a lot to be thankful for. And those are the little things that we have to talk about, like, and think about. We have to, do that on purpose, so we all can self de-stress and come out of that negative way of thinking, and put ourselves into like a positive way of thinking, because I can't determine the way people feel. That's really up to the individual, to the person, you know. And but words are powerful. Words are powerful, because the Bible it explains it as, it's able, just like a ship is, they can move it and navigate it with a small rudder. And then it also says a small little a kittle, or like a little spark, a little kittle can set a forest ablaze. So likewise, the tongue, it says life and death is in the power of the tongue. So we have to, like, on purpose, just, if someone's stressed out, we notice people are stressed out, or whatever the case may be, like, we have to, like, talk about stuff like that, or remind them of whatever they have, and like talk good about the things that they have. That will also help as well. Like, they might have, an iMac. Like, oh my God, you have a fucking iMac. Like, that is a blessing. You have a fucking iPhone. That's a blessing. You have an iPad, iPod, whatever the case may be. Like, it's all positive, not negative. And that can either uplift someone or not. So, there's a lot of people out there who, who are stressed out. So they need to hear positive things. And not everything in this life can bring true happiness, you know, especially in tragic events like someone passing away, like a family member or a friend, and like going through the motions, like at a funeral, um, like all that stuff, like it's in that instance, it's like we just have to, like, thank God for everything that we have. And also, you guys out there that have, a lot of stuff, like, give stuff away. Be a blessing to other people. Like, honestly, the older that I get, I'm 30 years old, going to be 31. I feel like just giving everything away, everything I own. I just want to be left alone. But at the same time, it's like I want to be able to help people. So that is the reason why I share my thoughts, I share my ideas. Because I thought about a lot of stuff, and I see the way that we are operating in this world as people, and some of us are just like wandering in the world, like doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that. And at the end, like, not at the end of the day, but like, let's say, for instance, 2 years from now, do you still have the stuff that you went and purchased, or that item that you really, really liked? Do you still have it? Like, I went to the store, I bought myself some cactus plants. I even bought a one of those. Oh, I forget the name of the plant, but it eats like flies. It captures the flies. A Venus plant. And a lot of people, we see things, we like it, so we buy it, and we will go across the world, as a figure of speech, because I never been across the world. But I have had different items shipped from different parts of the from different countries to my location, and I just pay for shipping. I bought some concrete molds from Ukraine, but I basically bought them through like Amazon or something. But still, the people that made them or whatever were like all the way in Ukraine. So, um, like, after a while, do we still have the things that we bought? And then, like, all that stuff, So it's like, why did we even, like, why do we do the things that we do? In other words, Or are we just like learning and we get it like super excited? So we like dive into something and then later on we just lose interest. I think that's the key there. We just lose interest, so we lose interest and we go on to other things. But it's like really thinking about all that stuff. So I've thought about a lot of stuff, you know? And a lot of us like we want stuff. We want this, we want this, we want that. We want what other people have. But once we have it, it's like another point is like I think we get jealous of what other people have or what other people are doing. It's really like entertainment for each of us. And like cleaning I was painting gutters, and like sometimes we can see people doing stuff like even, for work or whatever. They're working and we can like feel like wow, that like we can sense or like get a thought like excited, like excitement. We see what they're doing, and then we tell ourselves like, or to other people around us like, that looks pretty interesting, and I would like to, do that. That looks kind of like fun to do. But for the person doing it, if they're doing it for a living, it's like it's not fun. For some, every single day doing it, it's not really that exciting. That excitement dissipates over time. And that's why a lot of people also go into businesses and then later on they decide, well, this is not really the business for me. So they go on to, to a different career or to different stuff. And, like they spend a lot of money, investing a lot of, the startup costs just because they thought, it was going to be exciting or whatever the case may be. And although that's why it's better just to try different things out, watch a lot of YouTube videos. That's what I do now is watch a lot of YouTube videos. Um, I have for a very long time. So that's why like I concluded like, we just look at the world right now and where we are at and where we have gone, what we have accomplished. We have to like really think about what's really important and what's not, and focusing on what's important. Like for instance, like all these homes, they're made out of wood, and it's a blessing, don't get me wrong. We're talking about positive stuff here, not negative stuff. But then some people want the house this color, that color, this color, that color. They want to remodel the kitchen cabinets. They want this, they want this, they want this, they want this. And at the end of the day, it's like, what do people really want? And what people really want is, well, I mean, it's not what people really want. It's what people really need. And what they need is just shelter, a roof over their head, right? With electricity for climate control. If it's hot outside, it's cold inside. If it's cold outside, it's warm inside. That's what people really need. So that's what we need to focus on because that's what's most important. But and like not but like there's a lot of homes that get burned up, that get old, that have to get destroyed, demolished, demolished or whatever. So that's why I thought about like this concrete home, and I posted it on my Facebook account and on a Facebook page that I created. Is called Invent or Don't Invent. And like obviously I'm not a professional, so I just wrote the concept, and I've been talking about the concept of that idea to everyone. But it's going to require a professional to go in there and map everything out, write it all down like on a blueprint. So people that know what they're doing, like all the professionals out there, like the construction workers, they each have their own task, so they could follow those instructions and get it done. But I mean, obviously, we have to be thankful for the things that we have. And, like, there's a lot of people out there who don't even want a house, they want a mobile house. They don't want to be permanent residents and live in one location for the rest of their lives forever. They want to travel. They want to go places. But we can get jealous because we can think like, well, these people, it seems like they're having fun. See, it seems like they're having fun, but are they? All that driving around. And see, it's like we have to find our own interest. And that's why it's good to watch YouTube videos. Because, I mean, it's all education. So you might lose interest in that and not having to have to like go through all the motions in reality, and losing all and using up a lot of energy and real time and real money to later find out, hey, I wasn't really interested or passionate about this particular idea. Now I want to like hit that reset button and go back in time to continue where I thought about this idea. So it's basically like premeditating our future, our lives. And basically that's all life is all about if you really think about it. Because, you know, we all know it's all about education. Growing up, we went to elementary, middle school, high school. A lot of you guys went to college. Um, you guys have a good jobs, and you know, it's all about innovation, and we're entering businesses, organizations that are very dominant, very competitive, and you know, these businesses, companies, they're not going to wait or hold up for anyone. They're going to continue operating. They're, because the customer's always right. So they're going to do whatever they can to satisfy the customers, not the employees, definitely not the owners. It's the customer that's always right. So that's why there's always changes. There's growth. And, you know, that's why some people lose their jobs, but it's not the end of the world. They just have to go and be more creative. It's all about being creative here. Thinking outside of the box and being positive, not negative. Like, okay, and moving on. Not, oh my God, I lost everything and I want to go commit suicide. No, it's nothing like that. It's like you have to think about your future. At the end of the day, what's more important? It's all about survival, right? So as long as you have, somewhere to sleep, something to eat, and all that stuff is provided for free, you know, because no one's going to allow anyone to suffer and you know, to not go without food. Like, you would have to like kill someone or like do the unpardonable sin or something like that for that to happen, for that to manifest. Like, death row inmates don't even have to worry about any of that. Think about it. And in the eyes of society, they did commit the unpardonable sin, you know? So it's like, we really have to think about what's important, and we have to stay positive. We have to thank God for every single blessing. And if someone's out there suffering, they don't have something, they don't have food, they don't have shelter, well, they're not asking the right questions. They're not they're not seeking the real help that they need, or someone's fucking them over. It's as simple as that. And that's why I believe in the digital ID and the internet, and the system, because no one should be going through shit like that. And if someone is, it needs to be reported, and professionals need to get involved, and they need to really help people like that. Like, think about it. People are out there fucking begging for money and shit. And then some of them have signs and they say veterans. Veteran. So, and not just that, but veteran, those are people that went to war, that served in the military. And they're out there begging for money, and all these other people who are physically ill and who are handicapped and incapable of walking or operating normally in life. Like, some people are blind, and those people are getting full benefits since they were young, since they were born. But someone that served in the military, a veteran, that has more rights, I believe, than a citizen of the United States of America, is out there begging for fucking money. That's a dishonor. That's a shame on us. And honestly, it just goes for every country out there, for every person. But who's at fault here and who's not at fault? Or who's to blame? Well, that's why Facebook, they have that tagging. We can tag people. When we go to restaurants, we could write a review. We have to think about all that stuff. And we have to keep it positive. Because we can't complain. I've been in a lot of homes, people. I've been in a lot of homes that a lot of people would consider rich people. And these people, they're just like everyone else that have a home. It's the same. They just have the basics. It just happens to be a little bit bigger than, in size than smaller homes. But at the end of the day, we have to remember what's more important. And we have food, we have shelter, and we have to be thankful for those things. We have to be thankful for that. We have to be appreciative of that. And so that's why I'm talking about this, because I believe that there's a lot of people out there who might think they might feel like they're underprivileged or not regarded as important or as special or whatever. But you guys are. Everyone in the world is. Everyone is. And, we can get jealous when we see nice things, a nice car, a nice, healthy people, or whatever the case may be. We have to count our own blessings. And we just have to be thankful for the things that we have, the things that we possess individually. And because a lot of us have had money, we can all go work. And don't blame other people for your way of handling your money. You squandered it. In God's eyes, you fucking squandered your fucking money. So don't get mad and angry at people, and don't try to go and vandalize shit and break people's assets and break people's hard-earned shit when you decided to go and squander your fucking money. Don't do that shit. Don't get angry at people that have a house, that have a nice car. Think about all the bullshit that you fucking bought. And you didn't have to buy it brand new. You have to think about that. Oh, I wanted, you went to the fucking store to buy some shoes. You could have bought $20 shoes, bitch, motherfuckers. You don't have to fucking buy no fucking brand new fucking, $300 shoes. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, how the fuck did you earn that fucking money? Like, think about all the other pairs of shoes you could have got at the value of $20 or $10. And imagine replacing those shoes every fucking month. Every month. You could just donate the ones that you used. You have to be thankful. You have to be wise. We're over here moving this, moving that, doing all this activity, all these activities, and at the end of 20 years later, is like, why did we even take the time and energy to do that stuff in the first place? We have to think about that. It's like a the Sims game. We have to think about all that stuff. Like, is it even worth it? Should we even invest our time and energy into the things that we think about, the ideas that come to our mind, and all that stuff? Like I'm thankful I got it in the union. I really am. Local 185 here in Shasta County. I'm thankful for that. I'm grateful for that. I thank God that I have my house. I thank God that I'm able to work. You know, because that's not always going to be the case. I'm going to get older. I'm going to, one day not be able to work. So, like right now, I'm thankful that I have a job and that I'm working. I thank God for everything. And all of us have to be thankful for everything that we have. And we have to get out of the mindset of negativity because we're all in this together. And if something or a part of us as humans is suffering, then we volunteer our time to go and help and aid, people that need help. Like there's a lot of volunteers when the fires in California happen. There's a lot of other like acts of God that happen, like earthquakes, tornadoes, tsunamis, you name it. People getting, you know, ran over. People, you know, I don't know, a bunch of things, People are there to help. Always. And they have, and they always will. So, like, we have to really think about what's important. And that's why I thank God for the internet because, I might be right on some of the stuff, but at the same time, I might be wrong. So it's like, what is right and what is wrong? And how can we clarify everything that's out there to reduce a lot of the confusion so we could all be on the same level, on the same page, and not be confused and misinformed. Because I think that's what is happening a lot of the time. I think a lot of us are getting misinformed. Like, this person could tell us this, and then this other person can tell us something else. One day I could say this, but then I can get informed differently, and then now I'm sharing the information this other way, and then people that don't know that I'm learning are like, wait a minute, why is Francisco now saying this stuff when he was saying this other stuff? You know? So that's why I love Google, because that's exactly, I believe, what they're doing with like all the books in the world. I think they're trying to like present people with clear, effective, um, like information that has been studied and proven, and it's like not even accepted, not even going to, if it's accepted by people, it's like fuck what people think. It's like they're going to provide the real fucking shit, real facts, whether we like it or not. And that's what it's all a fucking about, you know? And that's what it's all about. Like, why the fuck are we going to continue lying to each other? You know? Like, when a child asks Google, like, hey, is Santa Claus really real? Because now we have the capability of doing that, right? Or I should say, kids have the capability of doing that. Because I'm 30 years old now. But I'm still a believer. I love Disney movies. I love like all that stuff. And I was, a baby as well. So I understand. But now we really don't have room to lie to anyone or to deceive anyone. Now it's different. Now it's like, here, just watch this movie. There's a lot of movies to watch. There's a lot of cartoons to watch online. There's no reason to make people dream and to think like back in the day when we didn't have any internet, when our ability of envisioning things was limited. Now we have the capability of envisioning a lot. And now we can create and be creative with like photo editing apps and adding a bunch of filters when we record and a bunch of other stuff. Like there it's just, it's awesome. It's beautiful. And of course, grown-ups back in those days had to teach us stuff to keep us encouraged along the way, right? So now we understand a lot more and we can stay positive about everything. And there's way more things that God is like putting on the table for us, because, and God wants to bless us with way more stuff that hasn't even crossed our minds or, you know, entered our minds, or that we can't even think or imagine. God wants to do a lot more. And like, there's so many things now, like cars driving themselves, robots that are cleaning the floors. um, machines that are building stuff. I mean, you name it, it's all happening. It's almost like magic. And you know it because someone was brave enough to think, and people, they were able to be creative, so those ideas manifested into reality. Like faith and confession, like you have what you say, that type of thing. So that's why we all have to stay positive, and we have to talk about the little things, the little blessings, and not being so negative about it. Negative about whatever. Because if we're negative, then that could rub off on other people. You know, if especially if some people like you as a person, they might not like me. They might not like Francisco, and that's fine. But some people like you as a person, and it's a domino effect. You see what I'm saying? So some people hear you talking good, so now they think positive. Like, okay, cool. It's all about being a leader, even if you have to do it indirectly. Hmm? Because God is good. It's like a 3D printer. Someone created all the designs, but ultimately you are like the creator, the inventor, like the one who is constructing or building all these things, even though technically you're not. You're just printing something. But in reality, you are in control. So now it's not even an issue like it was back in the day when it was all about like printers. That's all they focused on was the printer, the machine itself. And then later on, people evolved and adapted to that. And it was more about what people were able to print. And it changed drastically. So it's the same thing with everything else that's out there, where people forgot about all that. They started focusing on the good, and maybe they didn't see the vision, but we have all adapted to it. And that's ultimately all that matters. So people just need to be positive, whether you like it or not, just be positive. Because it's affecting more people than you think. So, in other words, it's like, shut the fuck up and just be fucking positive. If you have nothing fucking nice to say, don't say shit. Oh, that's exactly what I was thinking. That's the way I wanted to like put this whole message for all of you to just like understand. In simplest terms, the nicest way I can put it. That kind of like covers it. That's my summary. Yeah. Um Sermon ended. Case closed.